This, I gotta say, I'm gonna transition to this next face, and it makes me laugh almost as much as that clip. I'm just gonna say, and right now we're on a we're on a roll. This is like what is it? Finnerty? What's his name? Yeah, Rob Finnerty. Like, Rob, you have to do this news story about Elon Musk and what he said. This is Musk's tantrum versus Trump's legacy. I wonder how this is going to go down. Oh, God.
I have been thinking about this all day, thought about it last night. Elon Musk gave up a lot to endorse Donald Trump, to work for Donald Trump. In literal terms, he gave up billions of dollars.
He literally didn't. It's his actions that did that. It had nothing to do with the fact that he went to work for Trump. It's good he was also did a Nazi salute and was trying to like pass along passive eugenics laws.
Also gave up any chance he had left to ever get back in with what we used to call the in crowd, the political establishment in this.
He means me. Rob, that's very sweet of you to think of that. But yeah, I got enough friends, man.
Country. But that part of the story began when Elon bought Twitter. 2 years before Butler, Pennsylvania, 2 years before he ever endorsed Donald Trump. The point.
How could it all go so wrong? How could we ever fall so far? Watch it, Tonys. I'm coming for you.
Making is don't feel bad for Elon Musk. The richest man in human history is going to be just fine. Elon gave up a lot.
Hey, I still got more money than you'll ever be able to spend in 1,000 lifetimes. Hey.
Country owes him something for what he did over the last.
No, we don't. He's in an optional business. No, there are other electric cars to buy. Fuck right off.
Months for what?
I'm on Blue Sky. I don't need X.
Exposed. No one knew what USAID was doing before Elon and Doe.
And now we know that they were saving lives, and they've basically stopped.
Will live on. Does Donald Trump lose the election in November without Elon Musk endorsing him? Without the financial backing? There's no way of knowing, but it would have been closer. I can guarantee you that. It would have been closer. Kamala could have won. There's no question about it. And anyone...
Well, don't write off all the uncommitteds and the assholes who didn't vote, who are now standing in the fucking freeway in Los Angeles going, what, I didn't vote for this. Yeah, you did.
Disagrees with that is just not being honest with themselves. Elon Musk made a difference in the 2024 election in the House and the Senate as well. But on the other side, Donald Trump is and always has been transactional. He's 79 years old. He's president of the United States again. Real power. And he achieved his one remaining goal. After everything they put him through, Donald Trump
He replaced Melania with a robot?
is back in the White House. So now, what does he care? Seriously. He got what?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Sorry. That caught me off guard. I didn't think he was going to be in this like that fully, but that was a righteous nunting that we just saw right there. So I apologize. Woof.
Needed out of Elon. Welcome to politics. Welcome to politics, where it's...
Yeah, okay. Where there's the real stuff happens, even though we shit on Washington all the time.
Show friends, it's show business. And Donald Trump has always been show business. We
Wrong town, dummy.
covered every second of every day of the 2024 campaign. And we have covered every second of Donald Trump's presidency, and never once could we find an instance where Donald Trump publicly promised Elon Musk anything. In fact, it looks like it's...
Oh, damn. Get it in writing, motherfucker.
the opposite.
I don't care. I don't need Elon for anything other than I happen to like him. People leave my administration.
Well, this is what he's saying now, dumb fuck.
And they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it.
Yeah, that's what they call it. So when Trump derangement syndrome is apparently when people realize that they've been lying on Trump's behalf this entire time, and they're concerned that they're now on the outs, and they've been protecting him from secrets that they know, and now they have no reason to do that anymore because he's going to throw them under the bus or call them a Democrat or get them killed or something.
Look, Elon Musk is a big boy. And if this really is all about the EV mandate, that's just too bad. Worse than that,
tough shit, business guy. DC's where the real power is.
What just witnessed on Twitter was a temper tantrum from a 53-year-old who's used to getting his way like all the time, every second of every minute of every hour of every day. Not only that, but Elon Musk also told the world this in 2021 on Saturday Night Live, and it's getting no attention.
I'm actually making history tonight as the first person with Asperger's to host SNL.
Yeah. What does him having Asperger's or not having Asperger's have anything to do with the fact that Trump is in the Epstein files?
Or at least the first to admit it. So I won't make a lot of eye contact with the cast tonight. But don't worry, I'm pretty good at running human in emulation mode.
We've got Dr. Drew Pinsky joining us in just a
Oh, okay, so you're really going to fuck this up.
couple minutes to talk about how that might have played a role in what we've witnessed from Elon over the past couple days. All the tweets, odd stuff. But we want to cover this story.
Not odd at all. That's not odd. That's a fact.
Honestly, and we want to make sure that we are covering all of the story, and that is part of the story. It might be an uncomfortable part of the story, but that is part of this story.
Yeah, but it's not as important as whether or not what he says is factual or not.
The tweet from Elon Musk at 3:21 p.m. yesterday afternoon, also part of the story. Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Elon lost a lot of friends with that post. In fact, he probably...
Again, why? Why? Are they protecting Trump from the fact that he's in the Epstein files? I mean, did he lose a lot of Epstein's friends, like Alan Dershowitz?
Some enemies. Because at the beginning and end of the day, Elon is just nowhere near as popular and as beloved as Donald Trump by millions
Oh, Joy, thank you.
of Americans. That's just a fact.
Yeah, it's just a fact. And millions of Americans are willing to just put aside the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and they didn't want an electric car anyways.
$500 billion just doesn't change that for Elon Musk. As for the post itself, look, it could be true. That would certainly explain why Pam Bondis and the FBI have been so skittish around answering the question and releasing the information. But if it...
Ooh, watch it there, flying close to the sun. If it was there, why didn't the Democrats release it?
It's true. Why didn't Merrick Garland or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris leak it out at any time over the...
Because some of the stuff might not be criminal, but it would be... they could certainly use it to expose him. There's no question that had they leaked it out, it would have been damaging, but they could have pretended it was fake, pretended it was deep fake. It would have, if it came out that they had actually done it, they'd have to do it through channels. They were actually transparent about that stuff. It'd be hard to hide that they leaked this information selectively. It would draw attention to they're releasing that probably to hide for other Democrats, and they have to release everything, and then they know they can't, and all that kind of stuff. Same thing that we'll see with Bongholio in a moment.
4 years. Even if the names of...
By the way, when I'm president, we will release all of it. The only thing redacted will be details about the victims themselves as human beings.
Prominent Democrats were in there too. Who cares? This could be bigger than the laptop.
What laptop? You mean the one you've never actually laid eyes on?
And they didn't tell us anything about it. But for years, they did tell us that Donald Trump was Hitler.
One side stands for freedom, while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany.
The term vermin was really effectively used by Adolf Hitler and by Mussolini.
Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden.
I gotta say, like, all this is just people describing why you would come to the conclusion that he wants to be Hitler. Besides the fact that he had a copy of Hitler's speeches. It wasn't actually Mein Kampf. It was apparently Hitler's speeches on his nightstand.
Alley in 1939.
Like he reads.
So I don't understand it at this point. If Donald Trump is in fact in the Epstein files, Elon, wouldn't it be worth bringing down some has-been Democrat or some donor if it meant keeping another Hitler from taking office? We think so. It never happened. And here we are now.
Well, granted, you have to understand that Epstein was arrested and Little St. James Island was raided while Trump was president. So maybe he hid the stuff. Maybe they were trying to find it or trying to get access to it. And maybe it was just dumped into the sea. Anything that was related to Trump was burned off. But it was also created gaps in the stuff that are quite obvious. But it might look like they scooped stuff out so they didn't release it. Whereas Trump will just release stuff that's, if there are big gaps in it, they'll have Bongholio and Kash Patel say, oh, well, we had to redact that because that was victims.
But it never leaked out. And it never leaked out because Elon Musk has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, on one end, that we might agree, but mostly in regard to AI. Can I show you guys something? This is the stuff that was collected. See if I can bring this up a little bit. It's hard because it's a PDF. This is the stuff that was collected from the Little St. James Island raid while Donald Trump was president. Never mind this one CD labeled Girl Pics Nude Book 4. The red rope containers are those legal folders with the flap over the top that you tie with a red string. The expandable, contractable files. Okay. One peach massage table, a green massage table, a beige massage, and a brown massage table. So you had them in all over the island. One flat box containing a large frame photo, blah, blah, blah. Then we get down to HP tower, a Lenovo tower, a Mac desktop, an HP tower, an HP desktop, a silver Mac desktop, a 6-bay with 146 gigabyte hard drives, like a RAID, basically. A box containing a Panasonic, I believe that's a camera. HP server, blueprints. There's this other. There's one server, a video server. This is probably in the security room. A cloud key, the cellophane containing Olympus digital voice recorder. So it was like sealed in there. These are all the things that were found that are allegedly Pam Bondi is going through. Let's see, red rope with a photo album of a girl in Epstein, a red rope containing a letter photo album of girls, photos of the island, one cellophane containing documents with names, a silver Mac desktop. There's a silver iPad, there's two space gray iPads, a Radio Shack recorder, an Olympus recorder. Like he wrapped these recording devices in cellophane. I don't know quite why. 45 CDs in this one particular box. A red rope containing a Sony Vaio laptop. There was a red rope containing a Sony Vaio laptop, a Dell Precision Tower. Another one with a Seagate Barracuda 80 gig drive in it. And then there's all these where are these? Yeah, these like thumb drives. One cellophane containing a Seagate Pathway. It was like a 100 gigabyte hard drives, all just individual ones, like he's mailing them out. One box containing a stuffed dog, which I don't know what the fuck that's about. And then there's like some artwork and that kind of thing. This one's the big one, obviously focused on the red rope containing vibrator, 3 butt plugs, 1 set of handcuffs, a dildo, a leash, a box of condoms, a nurse cap, a stethoscope. This other box had it must be a rather big butt plug because it was in this one red rope. Framed photos of naked females, a set of copper handcuffs, and a whip. There was a photo depicting 2 girls, cash disbursements, another handwritten note, Epstein letterhead, page-type letter, all throughout here. There you go. Court authorized intercept document, a red notebook, 10 photographs, 17 miscellaneous financial documents, not malicious documents, although I don't know what is in them. They probably get. So, yeah, only one dildo. Well, I mean, maybe he just rotated. Yeah. So, and there's the item number for all of those things. So I would suggest, if I could, this is on justice.gov's website, by the way. This is not me just finding shit on the internet. That's on justice.gov. So this is a list that Pam Bondi has access to. So here's what I would suggest reporters who want to talk about this. Ask her about items in particular. When will you release? And I think this is pick one of the hard drives that's in here. Like, when can you release the contents of the silver iPads, the kitchen Mac, Let's just go to one of these. How about items 1852 to 1846 on here? When will you release the contents of those drives? When can we expect to see 1852, 1851, or 1850? Just ask that. Reporters, just ask that. Item number 18 was a 32 gigabyte thumb drive. What's on it? Do you know? Can you catalog what's on it? You don't have to show what's on it, but can you put a list of what documents or videos or the names of the videos or anything, right? When will we know that, right? Just ask that. Stop asking about the list that may not be a list at all. Stop asking about these abstract files. You have a list of what's in these things. Ask what's on them. And if you find somebody saying if they are not erased, I agree. But let's say they have to go, well, it turned out these were all erased. Let them deal with that hinky shit. Right? This is this is a solution I would offer. This is what I would say to everybody. You've got a list of this stuff. You know Pam Bondi has a list of these items. They are allegedly in custody. Right? And right, Elon has all of them. Well, that's where we get to the point where why would he tiptoe around Elon Musk? Because copying all these things would be a priority if you were somebody in Trump's position, wouldn't you? Red Rope is one of these file boxes like you see lawyers have that accordion out, and then they have a flap over the top and they tie them up. Hold on, I'll show you. Wait, 1 second. Red. Whoops. Rope envelope. Quit. Rope envelope. Yeah. So, what you'll see is, these guys. This is basically what we're talking about. These kind of accordion, like red rope. That's what these are considered. These are called red ropes. This kind of stuff. There's varying versions of them. There's varying degrees of what you'll see, but a lot of them are like this. These expanding wallet kind of things. This would be a red rope. This would be considered a red rope. Yeah, Pendaflex, red rope expanding thing, whatever. There you go. So now you know. And so they have a ton of these things with all kinds of shit in them, specifically. So they have one where he just collected thumb drives or hard drives in them. Some of them were individual, like he was having them sent out on the regular. He might have been distributing child porn for all we know. And so each of these was sent out to a client that liked that kind of stuff, and he would send them stuff like that, right? Manually, physically. Okay. Can I show you guys something else too while we're on the subject of these guys dodging this shit like crazy? There are, let's see if I can, whoops, shit. Did I open the wrong one? No, here we go. All right. Yeah. So there was a company called, I believe, Need Digital. And let's see, I'm going to expand this up so you guys can see it, and then I'll put it in reader mode. Yeah. So there was a data broker that tracks people's private phone movements, okay? And what they do is they see where you travel and where you shop and all that kind of stuff. And they use your location data and your whether you have ad blocker on or any of that kind of stuff. And they track your phone. And they can be used to geofence certain areas. So Ron Wyden had a problem with this particular company because a right-winger had basically hired them or had paid for the service to geofence abortion clinics to see what phones came and went from those places as one of the ways they were going to track women who had had abortions or doctors or staff who worked there, and to find where they lived and stuff. So there was this rule about, and there are huge rules about in Europe about using this kind of stuff, but America's fairly lax, okay? So Wyden was coming up against this country and this company, and it filed for bankruptcy, I want to say in like maybe 2021, something like that. But at some point, somebody used this service, and I'll see if I can find, do they have the pictures in here? They should. Yeah, here you go. Yeah, okay, why is it not in that one? So they tracked, these are areas where phones went from Trump's, let's see if I can bring this in here, yeah. So this is Little St. James Island, okay, right here. Near intelligence tracked where visitors were observed 30 minutes before and after spending time on Little St. James. The resulting data shows the path visitors took to the island. Now, a lot of stuff has been said that a lot of people never took the plane. I've never flown to Epstein's Island. You'll hear a lot of that from people. That's because most of them flew into St. Thomas. The airport, this is the dock at St. Thomas that Jeffrey Epstein owned. So Jeffrey Epstein owned an enormous marina in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. And then he owned this little St. James. This is Greater St. James or Big St. James. This is the other island. Guess what? He also owned that one. He just wrecked the reef there, so he wasn't allowed to build on it. He was going to do this big resort there, and he got in trouble for zoning reasons, so he never got around to it, and then he got busted and all that shit happened. But this is his home island, and then he was going to turn this into a resort. Since, by the way, his death, another person bought this for $60 million for both of them and is building a resort on the big one and a little sub thing on it. But yeah. But this is why when people go, I never flew to the island, because they didn't. Almost no one flew to the island unless they took the helicopter. If you flew in, you flew to St. Thomas. So the follow-up is, have you ever flown to St. Thomas? Cool. Have you ever taken a boat when you were in St. Thomas to one of the other islands? What island would that be? Okay, so you get where I'm going. So they would come over, and then sometimes they would circle through and look at the bay here, and there would be this fishing hangout, yachting parked in this cove area here was more than likely what they did to do whatever awful. And then they would go down and spend time or go to the party at or go and do the same thing on their way back. But this is Little St. James. This is how people got there. They did not fly directly into the island, ever. So when people say, did they take the Lolita Express to go to Little St. James? No, they flew into St. Thomas. And this is one of the most important things when people are talking about this, because it allows them to have deniability. No, I never flew to the island. I never flew to, like Trump says, I never flew to his stupid island, right? Because nobody did. The only people that did were the people who took the helicopter. And even then, when you go, well, I took a helicopter ride over there, but that's different. Right? You can tell. It's it's how they lie around it. Okay? So this is that company that tracked that information. And then when they tracked it back to the United States, these were the primary areas where those visitors came from. And this was just over a short period of time for I think, just a few months even. Let's see. Well, many of the coordinates captured near point to multi-million-dollar homes in numerous U.S. states. The others point to lower-income areas where Epstein victims are known to have lived and attended school. So it not only tracks, if you look at this, who was taken, but the rich people's houses and the girls that were taken from nearby, area around West Palm Beach that he would fly down there. So let me state this unequivocally as much as I can, and I want this to be locked into everyone's mind when you're talking about this stuff. That anybody who says did they fly to the island? They never, or did they ever fly to the island? Has this person? I never flew to the island. They deny about that. Nobody flew to the island. They flew to St. Thomas and they took a boat or a helicopter to the island. And if they say helicopter, they're going to lie about that. Most people took a boat. Ghislaine Maxwell was a helicopter pilot. She and Epstein would fly back and forth. Most people wanted to take the boat because it's safer and whatever. Nobody wants to die in a helicopter crash on your way to Little St. James. So that was one of the reasons. They all took the boat. And he owned, again, Epstein owned a, let's see if I can find this real quick. He owned see if I can find this. Put this, okay. So yeah, here you go. This is from a report Wired did years ago. But this is the Cyril King Airport where these guys went from, and then they would go. Where is it? Dink. Yeah. So they would stay at the Ritz-Carlton. A lot of people, and then they would leave from this dock. This is the dock. Okay, this is the port that people took boats to Epstein's Island. They did not fly. So anybody who tries to dodge by saying I never flew to his island, they're bullshitting you. That doesn't mean they didn't go. And if you go, did you ever fly to St. Thomas? Like, oh yes, it's beautiful. All right. Did you ever take a boat from there to Jeffrey Epstein's island? Would it be surprising to you if the cameras on the corner of this building had images of you, or there were cell phone tracking data that put you in the restaurant there, on the boat, in the harbor of Big St. James, and then at the other island? That's when you'd start to see a lot of flop sweat and people calling their lawyers. So, real quick, just to be clear. Almost no one flew to the island. They flew to St. Thomas. They took a boat. They took a boat from a marina that was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. So who came and went from it was up to him to tell people to list. There are no boat flight logs. Nobody cares. That's one of the reasons people flew into St. Thomas. Nobody cares if you fly to St. Thomas. It's a tourist destination. Who wouldn't want to go? So the defense that you will see from a bunch of these assholes falls apart rather quickly. Also, one of the biggest, I would argue, the biggest dump of Epstein stuff that I've been able to find, this stuff in particular. When was this stuff released? Was this released by Pam Bondis? This was released by the Biden Justice Department after the Ghislaine Maxwell victory in court. They started releasing stuff after she had been found guilty so that they could not say, well, they muddied the water and they threw all this evidence out there and she would get away with it. They were worried that she would get away with it, that she wouldn't go to jail. Hal, I'd be scared if I was your enemy? Yes, you should be. This was released by the Biden administration. And they chose to do it when they chose to do it because Ghislaine Maxwell had already been found guilty. And so they could without jeopardizing the case. And somebody said, actually, there are captain's logs. Yeah, but it's up to you if you keep them for real. They're unlike airplanes, the FAA, they so don't give a shit until it's over. Because you can transport somebody from one port to another, but you don't have to report who's on there legitimately unless you're going to count them as insurance when it fucking sinks. But this stuff came out under the Biden administration. This was what they were starting to do. And the idea was in the second term, then they would start rolling this stuff out after Ghislaine is going to jail. She is appealing her conviction. So that's what's held up some of the other stuff as well. So they can't release this stuff without jeopardizing her appeal and making it easier for her to get out, is the theory. So I like this idea that they're like, he doesn't know anything. They don't have anything on Donald Trump. Bullshit.
Elon Musk had a temper tantrum yesterday, and he went from being, in many ways, the conscience of MAGA to losing a whole lot of MAGA.
Oh, no. He's low on MAGA? Has anyone checked his MAGA levels?
I also think it's worth pointing out that this is the first crisis of Trump 2.0, and it's not really a crisis. It's a falling out.
It kind of is when the richest person in the world tells everybody you're a pedophile on his privately owned social media network. Oh, by the way, you're right, though, in terms of whether it charts as a crisis. I would argue that the Signal Gate is way fucking worse and endangered the lives of our soldiers, but you guys don't give a shit about that anymore.
A boss and a former employee. Compare that to what we just went through with Joe Biden for 4 years. Donald Trump arguing with...
Oh, you mean passing an infrastructure bill and a rescue plan and rising wages and falling unemployment to the lowest level that we've had in, 60 years? That part? Getting lead pipes out of our drinking water and drinking water systems all over the country and that kind of stuff?
Elon
certainly didn't have any fucking riots.
Versus the media, Jake Tapper, and every prominent Democrat in Washington covering up a president with dementia and cancer. But on the
simmer down, it's prostate cancer. He'll survive it.
other side of that, it's really sad that it actually reached this point. Joe Biden's been out of office for almost 5 months, and
and you guys are still trying to cover for Trump's friendship with Epstein with stories about it.
Not a single prominent member of his staff or his family has come out and really thrown Joe Biden under the bus. Nothing.
Maybe that's because he's an honorable man, even with his difficulties. And secondly, maybe it's not as bad as you thought it was.
Really. Nothing at all. But just a couple days after being one of the most important pieces of this new administration, Elon Musk does this and then tries to hurt Donald Trump with the Jeffrey Epstein news. That's...
How dare he? He tried to hurt him?
Sad.
It is sad. It's super sad. Guys, it's like so sad.
I also think that part of this story might get back to what we mentioned earlier, that no one seems to want to talk about.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
So does this mean it's over for Trump and Musk? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think
Donald
so.
Trump is the most practical politician in American history, meaning this too will probably pass.
Like a kidney stone. Ow, 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 plunk. This too shall pass. The Sorrow at Newsmax on the Lifetime channel. Fridays at whatever, it doesn't really matter anymore. Why do I even care? Where'd he go? Sorry. There was hope for a moment, just for a fleeting moment.